Yay! Welcome back, everyone. So last time I told you the name of the next chapter to see if you can predict what might happen next. So the next chapter is called A Troggle Humper for the Flesh Lump Eater. So can you remember what a troggle humper is? Where was Sophie and the BFG just now? They were in Dream Country. And how many dreams did they catch? 2. One was a really good dream and one was a nightmare. The Troggle Humper is a nightmare, the worst nightmare you could imagine, apparently. So, this chapter is called A Troggle Humper for the Flesh Lump Eater. Now, they're on their way back to their cave. They've got to the yellow wasteland. And all the giants are sprawled there. What are the giants doing? Can you remember? They are phew. Okay. They is always having with 50 winks before they go in scumpering off to hunt human beings in the evening, the BFG said. He stopped for a few moments to let Sophie have a better look. Giants is only sleeping every now and then, he said. Not nearly as much as human beings. Human beings is crazy for sleeping. Is it ever occurring to you that a human being who is 50 is spending about 20 years sleeping? I must admit that never occurred to me, Sophie said. You should allow it to occur to you, the BFG said. Imagine it, please. This human being who says he's 50 has been fast asleep for 20 years and he's not even knowing where he is, not even doing anything, not even thinking. It's a funny thought, Sophie said. Exactly, the BFG said. So what I was trying to explain to you is that a human being who says he's 50 is not 50, he's only 30. What about me? Sophie said. I am 8. You is not 8 at all, the BFG said. Human being babies and little chidlers is spending half their time sleeping, so you is only 4. I'm 8, Sophie said. You may think you is 8, the BFG said, but you has only spent 4 years of your life with your little eyes open. You is only 4, and please stop higgling me. Itchy little snapper whippers like you should not be higgling around with an old Asian onion who is hundreds of years more than you. How much do giants sleep? Sophie asked. They is never wasting much time snozzling, the BFG said. 2 or 3 hours is enough. When do you sleep? Sophie asked. Even less, the BFG answered. I is sleeping only once in a blue balloon. Sophie, peeping out of her pocket, examined the 9 sleeping giants. They looked even more grotesque than when they were awake. Sprawled out across the yellow plain, they covered an area about the size of a football field. Most of them were lying on their backs with their enormous mouths wide open, and they were snoring like foghorns. The noise was awful. Suddenly the BFG gave a jump in the air. By gum frog, he cried. I was just having the most whoopsie whiffling idea. What? Sophie said. Wait, he cried. Hold your horse feathers. Keep your skirt on. Just you wait to see what I is going to bring about. He galloped off fast to his cave with Sophie hanging on tight to the rim of the pocket. He rolled back the stone. He entered the cave. He was very excited. He was moving quickly. You stay where you is in my pocket, Huggy Bee, he said. We is doing this lovely bit of buck squishing both together. He laid aside the dream-catching net but hung on to the suitcase. He ran across the other side of the cave and grabbed the long trumpet thing, the one he had been carrying when Sophie had first seen him in the village. With the suitcase in one hand and the trumpet in the other, he dashed out the cave. He up to? Sophie wondered. Keep your head up good, the BFG said. Then you will get a fine winkle of what's going on. When the BFG came near to the sleeping giants, he slowed his pace. He began moving softly. He crept on his toes towards the ugly brutes. They were still snoring loudly. They looked repulsive, filthy, diabolical. The BFG tiptoed around them. He went past the gizzard gulper, the blood bottler, the meat dripper, the child chewer. Then he stopped. He had reached the flesh lump eater. He pointed at him, then he looked down at Sophie and gave her a big wink. He knelt on the ground and very quietly he opened the suitcase. He took out of it the jar containing the terrible, nightmarish Trogglehumper. At that point, Sophie guessed what was going to happen next. Oh, she thought, this could be rather dangerous. She crouched lower in the pocket so that only the top of her head and her eyes were showing. She wanted to be ready to duck out of sight very fast should anything go wrong. They were about 10 feet away from the flesh lump eater's face. The snorting noise he was making was disgusting. Every now and again a big bubble of spit formed between his two open lips, and then it would burst with a splash to cover his face in saliva. Taking infinite care, the BFG unscrewed the top of the glass jar and tipped the squiggling, squirming, faintly scarlet Trogglehumper into the wide end of his long trumpet. He put the other end of the trumpet to his lips. He aimed the instrument directly at the flesh lump eater's face. He took a deep breath, puffed out his cheeks, and then whoosh! He blew. Sophie saw a flash of pale red go darting towards the giant's face. For a split second it hovered above the face. Then it was gone. It seemed to have been sucked up the giant's nose, but it all happened so quickly Sophie couldn't be sure. "We had better be skiddling away quick to where it is safe," the BFG whispered. He trotted off for about 100 yards, then he stopped. He crouched low to the earth. "Now," he said, "we is waiting for the gun and flames to begin." So we will stop there and we will find out next time what is going to happen when the flesh lump eater has this nightmare. Here is a picture of the huge flesh lump eater and the BFG being very cheeky, blowing the nightmare. So, what do you think? Do you think the BFG's done the right thing? Do you think he should have done that? Do you think he's going to get into more trouble, or do you think the flesh lump eater's going to get what he deserves? We'll see. See you next time.